Good morning again, councillors, and to those joining us in the digital gallery, and certainly appreciation to the officers who've worked hard on the preparation of this year's budget. It is indeed my pleasure to introduce Scenic Rim Regional Council's landmark 2023-2024 budget, our region's first ever to be developed in consultation with members of our community. This $112.17 million budget represents a milestone in our ongoing journey towards becoming a more customer-focused organisation that values and responds to community feedback following the recent engagement process that has contributed to our planning not only for 2023-24, but also into the future. Our focus for the coming year has been on continuing to build a strong future for the Scenic Rim while providing the best value to ratepayers through the sound management of limited financial resources in the face of the current economic headwinds. From a total capital spend of $34.754 million, more than $23.9 million has been allocated to improving roads, bridges, footpaths and drainage across the Scenic Rim. In line with the shared community plan vision for the Scenic Rim as an accessible and serviced region, roads and bridges, which are vital for the growth of our regional economy, are once again the major areas of our capital spend. The 2023-2024 budget provides for capital expenditure of $13.04 million for roads, $9.74 million for bridges, $1.16 million for community facilities and $1.63 million for waste management. This is in addition to the maintenance budget of $11.75 million allocated for roads, which includes $7.62 million for general maintenance of roads and footpaths for safety and accessibility, and $2.47 million for resheeting of gravel roads and shoulders. Against the backdrop of continuing labour and material shortages, Council is investing strongly in pre-construction activities for major transport projects. More than $1.09 million has been allocated for activities ranging from land acquisitions to survey and design works, the relocation of underground services and pre-ordering of materials which can be difficult to source. We are committed to ensuring the best value to our ratepayers through our investments in infrastructure that provides the catalyst for ongoing growth and economic development and will stand the test of time. The ongoing maintenance of public assets, including swimming pools, community halls, cultural centres, libraries, sporting facilities and parks infrastructure, has been allocated $6.6 million. Landscape maintenance for 129 parks and 59 gardens covering a total area of more than 457 hectares and 6 cemeteries, as well as the region's town centres, has been allocated $4.03 million. In line with Council's playground strategy, the Moriarty Park playground at Canungra will be upgraded at a cost of $92,000. More than $68,000 has been allocated in the budget to the upgrade of picnic shelters in parks throughout the Scenic Rim for the enjoyment of residents and visitors to the region. Tamborine Mountain residents and visitors to the Scenic Rim will benefit from the construction of a 600-metre section of footpath linking Gallery Walk on Long Road to the Tamborine Mountain Heritage Centre in Wongawallan Road. This key connection has been allocated $500,000 in the 2023-24 budget, along with an additional $72,189 for minor works as needed across the region to maintain the condition of footpaths and ensure the safety of pedestrians. As we continue to aim for a strong trajectory of growth, Scenic Rim's 2023-24 budget has also been framed in the context of a number of challenges for our region. Most notably, these are reductions in the availability of grant funding from the Australian and Queensland governments, rising costs, and the need to balance long-term financial sustainability against increasing community expectations in our delivery of services and facilities. We are facing challenging economic conditions with increasing cost pressures for both our organisation and our community. And the region's continuing recovery from the financial impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic and a series of extreme weather events in recent years, Council understands the impact of rising costs on local businesses and households and has attempted to minimise the financial burden on ratepayers, keeping rates increases to a minimum. Where possible, we have looked to cost recovery through fees and charges that apply a user pays principle to services and facilities to minimise rates increases. Although the overall rates revenue increase will be 7.9%, rates for 65% of residential principal place of residence will see an increase in line with CPI of 7.4% or less. Residential principal places of residence representing 11,967 or 62% of the total of 19,363 rateable assessments will see an overall increase of 7.27%. Rural principal places of residence representing 1,325 or 7% of the total of 19,363 rateable assessments will see an overall increase of 7.59%. Rates for typical residential principal place of residence properties on the minimum general rate with a valuation of less than $228,845 will increase by $81 in 2023-24 to $1,244. Combined with the $50 rise in the community infrastructure charge, the total increase will be $131 to $1,794, equating to a $2.52 a week increase. Rates for typical rural principal place of residence properties on the minimum general rate and which have a valuation of less than $314,222 will increase by $91 in 2023-24 to $1,381. With the $50 rise in the community infrastructure charge, the total increase will be $141 to $1,931, equating to a $2.71 a week increase. Now more than ever, our challenge is balancing the rates burden against fiscal responsibility to ensure sustainability and good governance as we continue to work to provide the highest level of service delivery to meet community expectations and maintain vital public assets. The budget consultations have also told us that our community is keen for us to continue to provide the current range of services and that there is also a demand for increased investment in the Scenic Rim sporting and recreational facilities to meet the needs of our growing region. Of the more than 50 individual submissions received by Council during the budget community engagement process, 15 sought consideration for capital investment in new or upgraded sporting and recreational infrastructure. Council is working closely with the Youth and Community Centre Beaudesert and has allocated $30,000 in the 2023-24 budget to progress plans for a Police Citizens Youth Club after confirming in February that a preferred site for this project had been identified in Beaudesert. We've not only listened to the feedback from the community, but also acted in response to ratepayers' priorities that were identified during the budget consultation process. The development of a sports and recreation plan and a sports infrastructure review, which will provide an audit of facilities and their use, will help Council to ensure facilities are maintained and meet community needs and expectations. As planning for the 2032 Olympic and Paralympic Games continues to gain momentum, Council will appoint a Sport and Recreation Officer to maximise opportunities and ensure lasting benefits for the Scenic Rim from these once-in-a-generation events. This new role will assist Council and the community in identifying key priorities and helping to guide future planning that will maximise the economic, social and cultural benefits for Scenic Rim and provide lasting legacies that will transform our region. Calls for increased levels of service to address environmental issues have prompted the creation of 2 new positions in Council's workforce, a biosecurity officer and a senior biodiversity officer. The creation of a biosecurity officer position recognises the need to preserve and enhance the Scenic Rim's unique environment and natural resources and reduce the economic and environmental impacts of invasive weeds and pest animals. The biodiversity officer will lead the delivery of key services that have seen increased demand from community groups and tree change residents through programs such as Land for Wildlife, Million Trees and environmental grants. Applications for assistance through Council's Environmental Grants Program and its Habitat Protection Program have more than doubled in recent years, and the number of applications for plants provided through the 1 Million Trees program continues to grow annually. By working with rural landholders on issues of soil condition and water management, and landowners in townships who require support on environmental matters, including urban wildlife, species identification and plant selection, the new officer will assist residents whose properties are not supported by traditional conservation programs. In response to community feedback, Council has also allocated $35,000 towards progressing the development of a business case for the Water for Warrell irrigation project, which aims to provide Scenic Rim producers with more secure and reliable water resources. Council has continued its commitment to supporting the region's local tourism organisations by including a direct contribution of $95,000 in this year's budget, as ongoing investment in tourism and economic development was identified as a priority during community consultation. Support for our Vibrant and Active Towns and Villages program shows the community's recognition of the value that improvements to our business centres and streetscapes add to our local economy, as well as our sense of place. This year's budget provides for planning for revitalisation projects at Canungra and Kelbar that consider the value of each township in its own right, as well as its place in the wider Scenic Rim region. The master plans for Canungra and Kelbar will be developed through community consultation involving public workshops, door-to-door surveys and engagement in public spaces, and local artists, writers and traditional owners will be involved in developing cultural elements that will reflect the character of each community. As planning commences for Canungra and Kelbar, concept designs for a range of improvements proposed for Tamborine Mountains Gallery Walk are set to progress in 2023-24. Community engagement helped to inform a business case for a pedestrian boulevard, including designs for a car park, and Council's 23-24 budget includes an allocation of $250,000 for a detailed design that will alleviate traffic issues and improve the safety and amenity of the popular Gallery Walk precinct. The revitalisation of Beaudesert will also continue, with work scheduled to commence in August 2023. Beaudesert's Indigenous heritage and local stories will be celebrated in the Town Centre Gateway precinct, which will feature yarning circles, a new events deck and stage, grassed amphitheatre, public artworks and picnic areas. The historic Beaudesert Railway Station building will be a centrepiece for the project, remaining in its original location and providing a point of reference for the new structures. Improvements to the underground stormwater network on Short Street are also due to commence in August 2023. This will better protect the town centre from future flooding, creating confidence for residents and existing business operators, as well as those planning to invest in Beaudesert. Similarly, historical drainage issues will be addressed in works at Kelbar in line with upgrades to the region's stormwater infrastructure. I'm pleased to present a budget that reflects community needs and priorities and Council's prudent allocation of financial resources in the current economic climate. Once again, on behalf of Council, I would like to offer sincere thanks to everyone who has helped shape our budget planning, either through their attendance at the community consultation sessions at Boona, Beaudesert or Tamborine Mountain, or through individual submissions. Together, we will continue to build a strong future for our region.